Good morning, everyone. Good morning to all the viewers out there. I'm Jeff Kua, and welcome to class time. And happy Friday. Okay. Thank God it's Friday. Okay. Pwede na naman nating sabihin ulit yung TGIF. All right. So, well, before I introduce my guest today, and yung guest natin is from New York, okay? So babati muna tayo. It's a Friday morning, maraming teachers ang nagwo-work, but and a lot of you are viewing us. So good morning. Good morning to you. Yan. Yan si Roel. Good morning to Love. Good morning to Frisiel. Marilyn, good morning to you. Anisha, Reynilda, good morning to you. May, Frias, good morning to you. And Mylene, and to all the other viewers out there. Eileen, Anyahan, good morning to you. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Pero yung guest natin today, ang bati natin sa kanya ay good evening. Okay, yan, good evening because nasa ibang bansa siya. Alam niyo naman nag-i-invite tayo not just from not just local experts but also international experts, practitioners and specialists in the field of education. All right. And special, no? Yung guest natin kasi matagal natin siyang kilala. And in fact, she was also my English teacher back in high school. Okay, no? So medyo matagal-tagal na siguro 'yon, okay? So anyway, marami pang bumabati sa atin ulit. Si Mylene, Eileen, Maylene. And ang suki natin si BG. BG, are you, she's a teacher in China, I think, or ano, no? And are you based there in China? Saan ka ba naka-base? But anyway, good morning. Before, again, no? Papapasukin na natin yung ating special guest today. She is in New York now, and she has been teaching there for a very long time, and today she will share with us her experience in doing remote teaching. Okay, and let us all welcome Miss Tet Acedo. Good morning, Tet Acedo Lim. Okay,
Good morning.
lagay na natin yan dyan. Good morning to you. Well, sorry dyan pala good evening, no? Good evening, yan. Sige, lalagay natin ang iyong there. Alright, so, kamusta naman dyan? How's New York? How are you all doing there?
We are doing fine. Well, better than in the last couple of months. We have started with the phases in reopening. So, but still, people are still afraid to. Well, I'm coming from New Jersey, but people are very cautious. Right now, there are still rallies going on with the issues that are prevailing at the moment. But overall, I would say the New Yorkers and the nearby state like the tri-state New Jersey and Connecticut, we're all trying to be very, very vigilant in following the safety precautions to social distancing, wearing your mask, and all that. A lot of people are still in quarantine, so and it's getting hotter.
It's almost it is summer, right?
Summer,
June.
yeah,
June
Sunday.
is summer.
We started
Okay.
summer last Sunday.
Okay, so mainit na dyan. Sige. Give us a bit of a background, no? Doon muna tayo magsimula siguro. Kailan ka nagpunta dyan? Paano yung experience mo when you were starting? Before we go into the actual, experience in remote learning, so that we'll have a context.
Okay, so I came here back in 2003, and before I came here, I've already been teaching in the Philippines. I started out in my alma mater, and then I jumped onto Montessori, and then of course Jubilee, and from there was a gap I took a sabbatical for about 4 years from teaching in another place. And then after that, when I came back, there was this agency that was newly established in the Philippines, and they were recruiting teachers to come to New York City. Actually, I was interviewed by really a representative from the New York City Department of Education. So I came here in 2003 around September,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know it was a
Oh,
different
yes.
experience culturally and educationally. So
So how long was the transition, no? Pagpunta mo dyan, for you to adjust.
well, I took a break from teaching when I came here, so it was like a 4 year break. So
Wow,
I had to
tagal.
catch up. When we
Oo.
came here, all we were called international teachers because
Okay.
they recruited from different parts of the world. And they got it into a schedule of training and immersion right away of the educational system here in the United States, which was no different from the Philippines,
Ah,
except
okay.
that we had to take a lot of classroom management, what do you say,
Programs.
workshop
Trainings. Workshops.
trainings, programs, you name it, because the way you deal with the students in here, I teach in the public school.
Mm.
Um, I am teaching dun sa area na most of the children belong to gets free lunch. So
Okay.
that's the area where I teach, and
Okay.
the way to interact with them is entirely different because coming from the Philippines, I've never taught in a public school. It's always been a
Okay.
private school, so there was this big cultural
Adjustment.
adjustment on my part and a lot of acceptance on my part because the
Ah, okay.
kids are really like if you know the movie Dangerous Mind, they're half
Yeah.
close to that sort of
Okay.
students. And I teach in the high
Yeah,
school, 9 to 12.
okay. So until now, you teach high school.
Yes, because I'm
Ah,
licensed
okay.
to teach in the high school. There's a
Oh,
license
okay.
here. If you like, I have 7 to 12, so I can teach 7 and 8th grade, but that's the state license that I hold. But the DOE appoints you to a certain grade level that you need to teach in the same certification that you have. So I teach high school because that was where they appointed me. So,
Okay.
but
So
if I
I see.
can
So you.
teach in the lower level, I can also do that, but not with but only a level lower. So mga eight.
Ah. Okay. I see. I see. All right. So let's now go to your experiences in remote learning. Okay? Kasi ito yung dito curious yung mga tao because ngayon pa lang kami papasok into remote learning. Okay? So we are still going through the process of trying to understand, trying to learn, no? The technology, the classroom management digitally, no? Ngayon pa lang kami papasok diyan. And we will start school here August 24 and but there nagsimula na kayo as early as March, no? So March, April, May, June. So mga 3 months na kayong
Yes.
yun ang ginagawa ito. You're already doing this for 3 months. So, I'm sure meron na kayong learnings, I don't know, no? So maybe
Okay.
today, paki-share sa amin yung mga experiences and the challenges.
Okay. So first and foremost, I'm talking from solely based on my experience. This is the first
Yes.
time I've used remote. We were thrown into this remote learning. So what happened
Yes.
was there was a 3 day crash course before the mayor eventually closed all the schools. And I can clearly remember it was March 16, 17, and 18, where we had a 3-day training. And then
Mm-hmm.
March 24, we were just plunged into online remote learning using Google Classroom.
Okay.
So dun sa 3-day, within that 3-day course, we learned, the basic of Google Classroom, and we were taught two different apps that we can use. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's called
Mm-hmm.
ScreenCast.
Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah, ScreenCast. So it was a 3 whole day seminar, and then you had to, at first it was like, oh my God, you have to do I had to do it a lot of times before I became comfortable in doing the screencast, even if your face is not on it. It's a recorded lesson, but you have to pace yourself and you have to make sure that, you're coming out loud and clear, the instructions are clear, the explanation are clear, and it's short, because the attention, even if they're high school, I have students whose attention span, you have to really go within that time frame, 15 to 20 minutes, because I teach a class where I have a special education. It's called an ICT class, where you have the general ed students and the special needs all together.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry to cut you there. What subject pala do you teach?
well, I'm teaching ELA, but college and career readiness is the focus on it. So I'm making a connection way back in the Philippines and Jubilee when I used to teach creative writing. This one
Mm-hmm.
is
Yeah.
for college and career readiness, but the extension is for English language arts, where the basic foundation, the basic skills of reading and writing is embedded. Plus, I put a little financial literacy on the side
Oh,
of the
okay.
alongside the
Interesting.
curriculum. So I do that with the 11 and the 12th grader. The
Oh,
financial,
okay.
because they gave me all 9, 10, 11, and 12. So 11 and 12 ELA with financial literacy, and then 9 and 10 is just college preparation with the literacy part
Okay.
in the curriculum.
So ELA is in
English language arts.
English language. All right. So anyway, sorry. Going back to screencast.
So yeah, so at first it was, it was really, it was daunting, because I had to practice. And you really have to make sure that you're coming out loud and clear. And I'm not used to talking on the screen. I really
Oh
am
yeah.
not. It's easier to be in the classroom and just be yourself. When you catch yourself making that you need to correct yourself, it's right and there and then that you do it.
Uh huh.
Here, it's a lot of time for your preparation. For a 10 to 12-minute presentation, or a 10 to 15-minute, it's a lot of preparation on my part. So by the time, of course, you post it then for the next day, but still the preparation that go behind that, it's a lot of logistics around it.
Okay. When you say logistics, how do you prepare? I mean, what's the
Um,
difference in the process that you've done before and now?
okay, so you still have your lesson plan. You just For me, I've been teaching for um, a little, a little over 20 years. So with your lesson plan, at least you know in the back of your hand what you're writing, or what your lesson plan is going to look like, what's in there, how your lesson is
Yes.
going to flow from the beginning, during, and the end, right?
Right. Right.
Here, you you have your lesson plan, but you're looking for, when it's a recorded lesson, you're
Ah.
not sure of the feedback unless you get the work from
Ah.
the students back.
Right. I see.
And for someone, I'm more of a classroom person. So the
Yeah.
challenge is, how can I make myself engage as well while talking to a screen, right? So we are fortunate to have a principal who thinks ahead, he's very systematic. I mean, I applaud him for that. And also the other thing is, he's also of an Asian descent. So we know
Okay.
how
Yeah.
we work. We're service oriented, and Well, it's not like we think ahead of what's going to
Right.
happen. So
Yeah.
we're fortunate to have him, and he there was no system in place, Jeff. So we had
Okay.
to
Yeah.
come up
For
as
sure.
a school community to come up with a system that would work for us, and
Ah.
especially with the kids at the center of it. So
Yes.
he had to come up with that, and he was willing to solicit feedback from us, and he put together a system that it's not perfect, but it works
Right.
between the teachers and the students. Like for example, on that very first day, um, what he wanted us to do, of course, what he wanted us to do was to do an inventory of who are those students that we have that are can get online or have access to
Yes.
computers. That's the
Yeah.
very first thing. No matter
Yeah.
how, no matter what your big grand plans are, if your students do not have access to internet, what's the point,
Mm.
right? So that's
Exactly.
the very first thing that we did an inventory. And then from that inventory, we found out that 50% of our students do not have access to, I mean, we're in the United States, right? But
Yeah.
it's a
I'm
shocker.
surprised.
50%
Oh.
of our children do not have access to internet and do not have access to computers.
So when you say
So
do not have access to computers
they,
or
they have their phones.
internet, they don't. Yeah, they have no phone, no
No, they
laptop,
have
and no.
phones, but they don't have,
Okay.
many of them do not have laptops or desktops at home. So they just rely on their
Ah, I see.
smartphones.
Okay.
And if you're going
Oh
to be
wow.
relying on your
Okay.
smartphone, it will be difficult. So that
Yes, exactly.
that so the Department of Education, nabalitaan ko rin din sa inyo, they started a survey where people who do not have access to internet and computers, they have to sign up with the Department of Education, so they were provided um, those gadgets, those who signed up. And
Yes.
that took about until the end of April to the first week of May, while they distributed around 200,000 200,000 units that
So,
are internet ready for the
uh-huh.
kids.
So
So,
so yeah. So what happened there now? So your
so
students.
we had students who were not logging in.
So
Those who
paano?
so it was, let's just say, he divided. You know what he did was he divided the faculty. So there we had a staff na talagang they just they're getting data on who are the students who are not logging in, what information can to reach out to them. And here I'm one of those, well, let me say, I'm one of those teachers who will keep information, like we have phone numbers. I never did that
Yes.
in the Philippines. Our phone is always on our hand. So when every time we have a problem with a student, the first thing that we dial is speed dial. Hey, your child is this. Can you talk to your child? That's why we have our phones. So
Uh,
I have a file of all contact numbers, and most of them I do have their numbers. So it's one thing that teachers here need to have. You have to have some sort of a contact number that you can get in touch with a caregiver on an adult at whatever cost. And we normally we get them from the kids. Most of the time, the problem is the numbers are not working.
oh.
So you have contact numbers. I do have contact numbers from grandparents to aunts to older brothers and sisters. So we pulled all our resources together, and we have one group of adults in the school who are following up all these calls and making sure that the information is passed on to the Department of Education. So by the end of, I think by the first week of May, all our students that need gadget, they have been
Oh
provided.
wow. Oh, okay, so galing ah. So kumbaga, the 50% na wala because they signed up or and so the government provided
Na-
them with necessary gadgets. So everyone now is learning online, 100% of them.
Almost in our school, almost
Yes.
100% of them is learning online. Around
Okay.
5% are still MIA.
Okay. When you say MIA, they don't go to school anymore.
They
Yung
don't
missing in action
log
na. Okay.
on. Yeah, they don't log on. And we have guidance counselor who are can get into the system and try to find out ways. Really, you have to really be very resourceful here to find the families or someone who they know, even just to get to reach, just to reach out to the kids that we need reaching out to. So
I guess many of the students also there, no, just for the viewers to have an idea of the demographics of the students there, no,
mhm.
so that we can compare it here. Your grade, you teach high school, and these are students in grade again grade seven
nine
and eight, grade nine,
9 to 12. I'm
nine to
teaching
twelve.
9 to
So
12. Yes,
so they would be around the age of what, 16 to 18?
14 to
14.
18. Yeah,
And some of them are working students.
some of them are what? I'm sorry. Some
Are
of
working students.
No, they're not. Some
Okay.
of them are adults. I
Okay.
mean, they who take care of their younger siblings,
Okay.
who have adult responsibility because most of the parents that we have work 2 to 3 jobs.
I see. Okay, okay. Okay, so they take care of their siblings. I see. Um, sige, so the
So
transition. So you're now almost 100%. Well, in terms of gadgets and access, so almost 100%. No.
mhm.
So going back to the lessons to Google Classroom. So screencast is
So
something na hindi ka nakikita.
yeah,
Did you catch that? Yeah. So hindi
yeah,
ka nakikita. Walang face talaga. So
uh-huh.
it's like teaching with your voice.
Yes. And
Okay.
the only time that that they can hear you if they go to Google Classroom and go to the classroom in there
Okay.
for them to get on the recorded lesson. So what my principal did is he did an A we call it an ABC day. So there was a schedule. We cannot
Uh-huh.
mimic the schedule of every day 6 hours and 20 minutes from 8 o'clock to 2:20. We did not do that. However, what he did was he did an ABC schedule where the A day will wherever day the A day falls under, there's got to be a live instruction, a recorded lesson that is going on. There's an instruction of some sort that is going on between the teacher and the student. Okay, that will
Okay.
last for about 20 to 25 minutes for one subject.
Ah.
So we engage the students on an A day. We have 8 periods a day. So on that A day, all the lessons, 8 periods are done on the A day. So wherever that A day falls under, that's what you follow because the schedule is different every other day. So the B and the C day is what you call office days, office hours, where we spend an hour on Zoom and students
Okay.
can come in if they need help with the work that was presented to them the previous day. That's when
Okay.
you do small instruction on a B and C day. But the schedule is a little different where on a B day you do periods 1 to 4 for an hour each. So like for me, I have periods 1 and 2, Monday to Friday, different classes. On a B day, I will have periods 1 and 2. So that's 2 hours of Zoom for two different levels. And then on a C day, they will do 5 to 8.
So
The
so
same the
pre
same format.
yeah. So before COVID, wala kayong ABC day.
Wala.
It's always like talagang lecture and seat works.
Yes, it's
Ah.
interaction every single day. So here, it's only on the A day you present the lesson. However, that form of the lesson you present, it's up to you. But there's got to be an instruction taking place on an A day. A B and a C day is what we call study hall day, where
Okay.
1 to 4 period is done on a B day, 5 to 8 is done on a C day. And all the teachers who have peers on those days should be on Zoom, on standby, either doing small group instruction or assisting students that need help.
Galing galing Very systematic, no?
Yes,
So, so the again, no, for the viewers right now. So again, so the A would be
instruction
the
day.
instruction day, meaning delivery of lessons,
Yes.
and this is done live or
You can do
recorded.
it, you can do it live, but we were encouraged to alternate. Like there are some A days. If you did not do a live one today, the next A day you have to do a live one, so you can see them.
Ah, ang
So you
galing. So hinati sa dalawa.
yes,
Instructions, okay, wherein students will learn something, and the B and C would be the application.
yes, office
Okay,
hours. Yes, consulting
office
day.
hours, consulting day. So
Yes,
consulting is okay. I learned this is the day that they want to clarify something, something like that.
yes. They,
Okay.
yeah.
We have a question here. Uh, Hi, Miss Acedo. How prepared is New York City Department of Education for the upcoming fall opening? What systems are in place to ensure that children and teachers are guaranteed healthy and safe schools? What are some scenarios that you foresee?
Actually, she's one of my friends. Yes, Miss.
Hi, Jet. Good morning.
Okay, Jet. Well, right now there's only one thing that is sure. We will open in September. How will that look like? It's definitely something that will be planned for over the summer. So there will be a group of teachers and administration over the summer who will follow the 8 guidelines that the chancellor has outlined. And from that guidelines, from the top of my head, health and safety is on the very top. What is the school? The school needs to come up with their plan. So there's a framework. So the school will have to come up with plans based on the framework that was issued by the chancellor. Most likely, the it will be a blended learning hybrid classroom that is going to happen where there will be students who will be coming to school and there will be teachers who will be coming to school. But let's not also forget that there are also going to be teachers who have underlying conditions that may not want to
Yeah.
come to school. And we also have children and parents who refuse to have
Send
their
their
students unless there's a vaccine
Yeah.
available. So everything is really up in the air right now. Like, we don't even have a date for what is going to be open because everything will need to be planned by the administration and the staff that is involved in that over the summer break in preparation for the fall semester. And of course, the very first stop on the list is health and safety of all the stakeholders in the school.
Ah, great. All right. I hope she was able to answer your question. Okay, so I encourage all the viewers right now to type your questions if you do have questions. If you want to clarify something, just type it there. We'll we'll post it and we'll answer your question. You mentioned something about framework, and during our exchanges, you mentioned something about the Samir framework of Puente Dura, Ruben Puente Dura.
Yes.
Uh, there. Oh, okay, so Jet said here, Ted is a colleague at at NYC public school system. I moved to a public charter school, but we are still governed by DepEd. Thank you.
Yes, she's a very
All right. Sige. So let's talk about the Samir framework. Okay.
okay.
I
So
think this is medyo here in the Philippines with different groups I'm in, no, in Facebook. Medyo yung iba pinag-uusapan tong Samir na to. And I think it's something practical and something we can learn from you.
Yes, this is I well, there are there are practices that we do in the classroom. We don't have a name for it, but I believe many of
Yeah.
the teachers have already been doing this. It's just that there are just people out there who put them together and they call it with a name. And this one
Yes.
particular framework that I want to share is the summer method by Ruben Puentedura. So it's just it's using technology in the classroom for an intended purpose. Because right
Okay.
now, we, especially with this online remote learning, um, everybody, I mean, that's going to be the next, like what you said in your last that I watched, it's the new normal. It's going to be the new normal. So
Yes.
teachers will have to really find a way to get into that, to get into the bandwagon, if
Yeah.
saying it that way. So
Mm.
it's S is for we use technology. Let me back up a bit. When I used to use technology in the classroom, it's just to enhance the environment, the teaching environment, and engage the
Okay.
learner. Okay, so I didn't
Yeah.
know that it was what they call right now in the summer model that the S is for substitution,
Okay.
where you're using technology for something that it's a direct substitute of what you're using, but there's no functional change. What do I mean by
Okay.
this? This means that we used to be, I mean, we read a book, right? But most of the books are available online now.
Right.
And if you have that technology, you can just project a PDF on the screen with a page of the book. And then you read it, if they have their iPads, they can be reading from their iPads. So instead of a book, they're reading from their iPads. That's just a substitution. You're
So
using
it's just the same function.
same function, no change.
Yes.
Okay. Now, with A, you're using the same thing. The task is the same thing. You're having them read a PDF. But this one, you're using technology to make the experience more engaging to the students, where they are able to um, where they're able to highlight a word and probably look up a meaning of that word and link where the meaning of that word is found into the word that they are reading. What I used to do was, when I asked them to type their essays, I always make them use without, because I know I'm not into Google Classroom, so I used to use Microsoft Word. I still am using Microsoft Word now. So what I asked them to do with Microsoft Word is, the spell checker. So that's you're using the same task for writing, right? But
Uh
you're
huh.
enhancing the experience because the students are now able to use the program to go back and check for the spelling of the words using one of the what you call that menu from the program. It's
Okay.
one of the feature from the program itself. One of my favorite that I always teach them is to highlight everything after they think they're done with their essay, considering that they've revised it.
Yeah.
They proofread it using spell check or grammar check. Is the reading the reading level and the grade level of um, their essay, because you can
Oh.
do that with Microsoft Word.
Oh,
The
okay. I didn't know that.
there's a menu where
Uh
it
huh.
lets you highlight everything, and it tells you the grade level of your writing, if it is a
Oh.
ninth grade, an 11th grade, or a higher. It tells you if it's
Wow.
when you find out what I'm writing on a sixth grade level. That's not cool, especially if
Oh,
you're a
okay.
ninth grade. There's a
Yes.
program, so that is what you call the augmentation.
Okay.
That part is the same thing when you read, for example, reading
Uh
a
huh.
PDF and you make them highlight, you make them annotate, right? there
Uh-huh.
is there is an interaction with a page using
Uh-huh.
technology. And also when it's like in writing, the spell checker, the grammar check, and that it's called a Flesch Kincaid reading level. So it tells you the level it tells you the level of writing that you have, and it's
Galing
in the
ah.
program itself. So
I
when it
didn't know. Pwede pala yun ah.
yeah, so
I'll check it later.
being a college and career readiness teacher,
Yeah.
I always tell them that, the benchmark is always, you're supposed to be, if you're going to be applying for a job after high school, they're
Yes.
looking at the reading and writing on a ninth grade level. So if you're in
Uh-huh.
high school, that's your benchmark. Either you're there or you're up the ninth grade, not below,
Yeah.
because the ninth grade level is the one that is ready for, it's a benchmark
Yeah.
that's where you're supposed to be, and higher than that after you graduated high school.
Okay.
So the other one is I have modifications. Okay,
Okay.
so when you're doing something that is an actual change. So what I do, which I didn't know I was doing in one of my lessons, where I asked them to, it's called the college door search lesson
Okay.
plan activity that I did with them, where they tried to look for colleges that are applicable to their SAT results and their GPA. So, and their affordability, of course, that's another factor. So we came up with this college door search, and then they look for colleges that meet their SAT and meets their GPA, and if they can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I have them choose three of them. They they did a little research on it, which is again another enhancement, right?
Yeah.
Augmentation. But then at the end of that, I asked them to come up with a 1 minute video of how they're going to sell this college if they were to go to schools and sell the college to other senior students who are graduating.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they collated or put together in their assignments with the college of that matches their qualifications and affordability. Some of them they did a music video promoting that college
Yeah.
to market it to other seniors. So that's what I call modifications.
So they're doing something. They're creating
They're
something.
creating something out of what they gathered together.
Okay.
Now, um, redefinition is when you have that. If you try to collaborate with another seniors from another part of the world using what you created, that is what you call the R, which is redefinition. When
Okay.
you do more than what you are expected to do, and you collaborate with you hook up. I mean, not hook up. You collaborate with other students who have the same interests as you have.
So it's like what we're doing right now. We are like redefining the way new reality education is going to happen through our collaboration. You are there in New York. I'm here in
And you are
Manila,
there.
and
Mhm.
we are like looking at our best practices and trying to come up with ways on how to adopt those best practices here
Yes.
in our local education system, right?
Yeah, because we're trying to, and I'm trying to engage my students. One way it's hard to engage your students if one, first and foremost, you must have a relationship with the kid. That's number one.
Right.
And two, you must also have a relationship with the caregivers,
Exactly. I agree. Yes.
right? So, and then when you have that, you have to make sure, or you have to find a way to make your topic engaging to them. So first, I sent them to a virtual. I found a site where it's a virtual site of all the colleges here in the United States. So they're able to go to different parts of the different colleges. They're able to go to California and check out, what the schools that they've heard, and they take back those information, and when we did assume to share out what they've discovered in other parts, in other colleges from the other states in the United
Yeah.
States. I just took the back seat and they took over in talking to each other about it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Ang galing.
you know, and you can ask them to take it further. So that's when like I remember there was one project that we did. I don't know if you remember this, but this was back then. That's what I'm saying. We've been doing this. We just don't know that we're doing it as
Yeah.
teachers, where we read Shakespeare, and then I asked you to
Yeah.
do a script. Either you do now they call it podcast, but it was
Yeah.
just a radio drama, we call it back then. And some of you even went out to doing a skit and video, making a
Yes.
video out of it. Now it's easier to do that with your phone. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, so those stuff where you're using technology for a purpose, but also having the students have their own take and come up with something that is unexpected. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I asked them. There was also this one student who did a rap version, and he was fortunate that his stepfather had a music. He
Studio.
mixes, yeah, in the basement.
Okay.
So he felt like he was one of he was a rapper, and he really
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
the pieces together with this college of that he would want to go. So it was exciting for them.
So that
Another,
that that doing the rap thing, the studio thing is more of a modification, right?
yes, it's more of a
Uh-huh.
modification. But and then when they start, when as a teacher, we can, live. If I know like Miss Jet, I can talk to Miss Jet and have and have her students with my students collaborate on a topic that they would want to do a project on. Is going beyond the four walls of your classroom, which is the R in the SAMR, the
MR.
red definition.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red
Re-
definition. So
So
I'm
so
still in that stage where I'm finding. I mean, I'm learning about this. This is a learning curve for me. Actually, there are a lot of free
source.
organizations there that are giving out free workshops like KQED.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be doing creating videos for the classroom as part of my professional development, and it's a free professional development that is given by KQED, which is part of PBS. It's a station here. It's a public station here that caters to educators, and I'm sure there's a lot of when you have internet, there's a lot
Yeah.
of free stuff out there
So
that as teachers, if you really want to incorporate technology with a purpose, not just incorporating technology and making it a busy work, with a purpose, there's plenty of resources out there for you.
yeah, I think it's the keyword. I think the keyword there is purpose. Eh. It's not just scanning all your files, putting them online, asking your students to answer those scanned files. No, it's really
Hmm.
creating a purpose out of or finding a reason why you're doing certain things. Or
Yes.
diba? Para the Samir is I don't know, no, parang feeling ko lang related siya sa Bloom's taxonomy that but it's not ano it's not ladderized, the Samir model, right? I mean, you
No.
can do certain things, di ba? Hindi siya yung kailangan step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right?
No, that's why it's technology with a purpose.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes you can just go as far as using, the substitution. Like, reading from an iPad or a Kindle, you know, a story, or where the audio is used. If you're if, you know, if you have a learner who needs to practice their reading skills,
Mm-mm.
instead of them reading it, there's an audiobook where they can just listen and then they read the words at the same time. Because I have students, we have students in the classroom who are in the high school, but the level of reading and writing are in the lower level, belong in the lower level, so that can help.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and earlier you mentioned something about relationship
Yes.
building, which is very important right now, no, in remote learning. So, are there any strategies? I mean, I guess, this is my last question. Are there any strategies you can share to all the viewers right now about relationship building as a teacher in remote learning? Because, in all the interviews we've had here, laging lumalabas yung it's important to build relationship with the students.
Yes. Well, first and foremost is setting expectations. That's first and
Okay.
foremost. And if you set the expectation that everything that we're doing is entirely centered to the students, right? Then these are what you are expected to do. Having a relationship with the student is just, you don't just plunge into the lesson at, right there and then. Um, you ask them how they are. It's a small talk that makes a lot of difference, because in that
Yeah.
small talk, you can gauge whether the student is having a bad day or has just a bad episode. And I tell you, with my what, with my experience here, that bad experience, they will carry it with them the whole day, and that they're going to focus and dwell on that. So when you see the kid, and we can tell because we've done a lot of trainings. At that point, you have to, don't start with the lesson. Start with how are you? Small talk, because that small talk makes a lot of difference for the kid, because they would think that, oh, she's she is not even she's not even focusing on what I need to do here, but
Yeah.
for me, I'm important. So
Yeah.
there will be, there are a few of them who will be tough to crack,
Uh-huh.
but just do the same. Separate the behavior from the person,
Right. Oh,
and
I
focus
agree.
on the person. And at some point, that child will be on your side. The next thing is with the parents. Um, you set the expectation with the parents, and we always find time to, in the business of our schedule, we always must find time to get in touch with, one or two, at least one or
Mm-hmm.
two or five a week, because you can't get all of them, but at least get in touch get in touch with the parents, because those parents just need someone to to let them know that somebody here. How can I be of help? That's what I learned from my new principal. How can I be of help? And if there is a time for you to really move away, because it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I have a lot of students who really need a lot of attention, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. You just need to take back and take care of yourself too. So
All right.
that's talking from experience.
Oh, wow. Galing, ah. Thank you very much. Well, ang bilis ng oras. We're about to end again.
Oh,
We've learned a lot today, but before we end the program, I'd like to read some greetings lang, no? And comments. Okay, this one. Oh, eto. Wait lang, ah.
okay.
Tanggalin ko lang yung banner ng SAMR. Okay, one moment para we can put the comments there. Eto, kilala mo to. Ayan.
Hello, Edna. We should catch
Eto.
up soon.
Oh.
I plan to go, summer, but COVID.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends also who planned to visit Manila. Na-cancel lahat, no?
Na-cancel lahat, yes.
Oh, nakakasayang. But eto, from Cassiopeia, finding a reason, purpose, and meeting in the process. Yes. Uh-huh. And another one from Cassiopeia, I believe it goes with doing an extra mile in reaching out to the students, making them feel that they are important and being valued beyond the lesson. Ako, I agree, no?
Yeah.
Ah, totoo 'yun, no? Kasi I think ang focus kasi ng teacher palagi, karamihan is lesson, lesson, lesson. I have to deliver this lesson. We have to finish. Kailangan tapos na tayo by this time. No?
Yeah,
But,
because
oo.
well, here,
But,
kailangan tapos na
yeah,
tayo this time because you're gonna have a state test that's coming. That's not always the case, you know.
exactly. Yeah.
The teachable moments are very rare, but when you see
Oh,
that, when you know it's when you're there right there, you gotta make it happen. It will
I
take a
like that,
lot.
ah. Yeah.
It will take a
Eh,
lot from you, but there's always, a time for you to step back, reassess, and then go back again into the field. Because
ta-
that's why we're here. I mean,
yeah.
that's why we teach. And teaching
Tama, I
is,
like that, ah. Yeah, I like that. So, a time for lesson and a time for teachable moments. And mas
yes.
importante is the teachable moments. I think for the students, they really appreciate that very much. Kasi hindi
Mhm.
nila nababasa sa libro yon.
No. Meron nga ako nickname
Oo.
dito. Nickname sa akin, Feisty Little Filipina eh. Kasi
Bakit?
you can't be diplomatic you can't be diplomatic for most of the time. You have to really stand your film, and I pick up my, you pick and choose your battle, plant your
Oo.
feet. That's what I learned from one of my mentors in the beginning. Pick and choose your
Oo.
battle, and when you do, stand your feet flat on the ground, and number three, follow through with what you've said. So
Ah.
they know, Mrs. Acedo, don't play.
Oo nga. Oo. Oo. Very straightforward and frank. Tama ba? Ganun.
Yes.
With the students, right? Oo.
Yes, with the
I see.
students. And they come
Oo.
around, they will come around and they will know. And I tell them, when you're out there in the real world, one day you will hear me yap in your head. And you're just gonna smile. And that for in the longest time I've proven that a few times because I've seen the ones that you're in feud always,
Oo.
head to head with, they come
Yeah.
back and they just laugh at me and tell me, you were right. But I never
Eh,
really, I was never really upset with you. It's just that you don't play, Miss A.
and those are the best moments, di ba? When they say, yes, you're right.
Those are the
I mean, I
rewarding
remember
moments.
what you told me.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Eto, may humabol before we end. Everything that we are doing now in the new normal is for the continuous education for our children. Education should not be set back because we can't bring back lost time.
That's true. You
Agree.
always have to move
Totoo
forward,
yan.
and wherever they are, you have to meet them where they are and go from there. Because
Correct.
you can only do so much. And if you've done what you think you could have done, then you're okay. I'm okay. That's my motto. If I've done the best that I could, I'm good.
All right. Thank you for this. Congrats. Let's continue to make a difference in the lives of our students and in our lives too. We may have a distant learning, but for sure, we are closer to them in mind and heart, finding time and moment for them. Yes, true. All right.
That's true.
So thank you for your time. Tet Acedo, Miss Acedo. Thank you for
I'm so
your
proud of
time.
you,
I
Jeff.
hope. Thank you very much. I hope we can invite you again in the future. And yes, we learned a lot from you today. And one of the things, no, I learned yung sinabi mong teachable moments. So as teachers, I think it's very important that we are able to catch those teachable moments. Learning beyond lesson, no.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Thank you
You're
for your
welcome.
time. I'll see you. Okay, I hope to
Okay.
see you soon
Sure.
in Manila, or hopefully I get to visit in New York
Okay, sure. Yes.
soon. Sana mawala na yung virus.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
And
bye-bye.
thank you
Have
for
a good,
having me here.
yes, have a good night to you.
You too, and have a good morning. Enjoy the rest of the day, Jeff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back.
Okay,
We are
bye-bye.
welcome. All right, so that was our program today. Thank you for watching, and have a good Friday morning and have a good Friday. And yun pala, reminder, tomorrow we're going to have our animated PowerPoint for teachers. If you haven't signed up, if you haven't enrolled, we still have a few more slots for tomorrow. And that will be tomorrow and July 4. 2 sessions yan. Total of 3 hours. Just visit the website, kayhusay.com. Okay. Alright, so remember to look or find those teachable moments. Alright, bye-bye. Have a